speaker, I have the clock ready. Our next speaker is Lorraine Delaney. She is presenting a workshop with a major collaboration here. So from Dublin City University, we had James Brunton, Mark Brown, Eamon Costello, Lorraine, Seamus Fox, and then we had Lisa O'Regan from Maynooth, Jamie Ward from Dundalk Institute of Technology, and Jennifer Gilligan from Institute of Technology Sligo. So big collaboration.
Big collaboration, yeah. And it's a national forum funded project, so that's kind of the reason behind the collaboration. So the title of this workshop, this is a workshop, I just want to make that clear to everybody. So I'm not going to be doing all the work, you're going to be doing some of it. So leave now if you want to do that. This is about supporting an effective transition into higher education for flexible learners using digital readiness tools. Okay? So the team have been introduced to you already, so I don't need to go through that. But I'm going to just introduce the tools and spend about 5 minutes doing that. And then I'm going to ask you to break up into small groups. And I'm going to ask you to look at a tool. So I'll allocate tools, I think, along lines. And I want you to test the tools, see how you think they would work in your institution. And I'm also going to ask you to fill in an evaluation form at the same time, if you wouldn't mind, and I'll come back to that again. And then we'll come back and we'll have time to discuss some of the evaluated comments that you've made, some of your feedback. And we'll also have a little bit of time to talk about how you might customize these tools for your own institutions or context. So, because that's the purpose of the tools as well, so that you can all use them individually. So the project, as I said, it's a national forum funded project, and what we noticed was that there seemed to be a gap in, I suppose, support for students who were thinking about coming into higher education. So once they were in the system, there was some support, but before they came in, when they were beginning to make decisions about whether they should go back to higher education or should enter it for the first time, there wasn't much around that period or that time to support them. So we looked at the literature, we undertook a systematic review of the literature to find out what was already known about flexible learners. And when I'm talking about flexible learners, I'm talking about students, normally mature students, who are completing part-time courses in higher education, or they're completing online courses, they're off-campus students. So they're kind of non-traditional learners, generally, is what I'm talking about. So we found out what was known about them already in the literature, and we also looked at what tools were out there to support them, what digital tools were out there to support them, because we felt these learners could benefit from having access to digital tools. They were regular students who needed something to access before they came onto the campus at all, and often they weren't on the campus full time, so that, they needed something that would support them when they were off campus. So we undertook that audit, and we came up with 8 digital readiness tools that we thought would be useful to this group. These are the tools. I'm not going to read them out for you, you can read them yourselves. But underpinning these tools was an idea that we would help enhance student success. That was the whole purpose behind the tools. So I suppose underlying that were 5 key principles. We wanted the tools to be self-regulation. We wanted them to enhance self-regulation. So we wanted the students to be able to see whether they were ready for study, to assess for themselves whether they were ready for study, whether they had the time for this study, and to do that themselves. We wanted them to be personal, so we wanted them to be able to look at something if they had an assessment or an assignment to do, what that would mean for them. So to look at them from that perspective. We wanted the tools to use the voice of the learner. So there are 2 aspects to that. First of all, we wanted to be very careful about the language we used in the tools. So for example, in one of the tools, Who Can I Ask? That started out being, who can support me? And we felt that was very much deficit language, but also when we spoke to students about it, when they heard the word support, they immediately thought of money, that they were going to get some money. So we had to reframe that and say, who can I ask? So we had to be very careful about the language we used, but we also wanted to use the voice of the learners advising learners, that all this talk about how students would survive or thrive was coming not just from the institution but from other learners as well. We also wanted the tools to operate at the point of need. So when you were thinking about study, what would you need to do then? So you'd need to think about how much time it might take or how much time you had. So then as you progress through it, you might need to know how what tips would you need for doing an assignment? How would you get through that? So they were going to be useful to people at the point of need, and they could dip in and out of them as they went along through the course. And finally, we wanted it to be possible for other institutions to customise them to their own learners. So we were very conscious of that. And within that, we worked with a great company, Fluid Rock, and Liam is here today from Fluid Rock. So if you have any questions about customisation at the end of this workshop, you can talk to us and talk to Liam about that. So, as I said, we're going to test the tools, and I'm going to give you two URLs. The first one is the URL for the toolbox. So what I'm going to ask you to do is look at the toolbox and also pull up maybe the survey, and while you're evaluating the tool, maybe complete the survey. The survey is very simple. It's based on a SWIM analysis, so I'm just asking you to identify the strengths, the weaknesses. I'll come back to this at the end. So it's the strength and the weaknesses of the tool, how you think it might be improved, and then I'm going to ask you to mark it, okay? So I suppose basically on the evaluation, I'm also going to ask you for your names and organisations. Now that's not compulsory, but it would help us authenticate the feedback. Just as Louise was saying earlier, you really need to know that you've actually collected these comments, you haven't made them up yourselves, okay? So because it's not a room that kind of lends itself to a workshop, but I would like you to work maybe in groups of 2 or 3, and clearly you need to have some sort of device where you can access the web. And if maybe one person could pull up the tool and somebody else could pull up the survey, and you could complete it, as you talk to each other. I think if the first row, if you just look at the first tool, the second row looks at the second tool, third row looks at the third tool, fourth row looks at the fourth tool, fifth row looks at the fifth tool. There's no sixth tool. That's kind of a MOOC which is under development. Maybe the last row looks at the seventh tool. And that's it. There's just 7 tools. So is that okay with everybody? And we'll circulate, we'll be going around. So we'll talk to you as you do it. You don't have to do problem accessing. I'm sorry, I'm going to have to call you back. I know that wasn't quite 15 minutes, but we just got a little bit of time pressure. So, can I ask people for just their brief comments? We won't have time to go through the feedback maybe that if you haven't had a chance to put it into SurveyMonkey, maybe you would do that later on. But people who looked at Tool 1, what was your general feeling about Tool 1? Do you have any disadvantages, any weaknesses, any major...
No, I mean, we've just come to the first question where we thought we could maybe add some value to clarifying what you mean by capable reader, for instance, to be able to give some examples and stuff.
Yeah.
Generally, we like the sort of the layout, the simplicity, the right level of language, and sort of little helpful quotes from real students.
That worked, you felt that worked for you.
And to get you to think through things and stuff as little prompts about readiness, we thought, yeah, that was a good appropriate question.
Okay.
I think I might change it's the same two people doing the quotes at the end. Yeah, I might just change it and have different people each time, so that it's a broader range.
Yeah, that's interesting.
It's an opportunity to get different looking people, you know.
Yeah,
not kind of model ready.
all the same, yeah. What about Tool 2? Did anybody get a chance to look at Tool 2? Any comments? Rona?
We looked at 2, so it was specifically around this question of whether you have enough time.
Yeah.
And we did it first, just going through allocating, then we went back and did the advanced. So So that's actually how many hours on each day of the week, and that was much more useful.
Okay,
Much
that's
more
interesting.
accurate
Yeah.
in terms of working out whether you have enough time. Because if you just do it generally across the week, you're just guessing.
Yeah.
So that was a really useful function.
Okay,
I
that's
think,
interesting.
having
That's good
that.
feedback. Yeah.
We weren't sure when we got to the feedback that there wasn't really much advice, but that might have been because we did have enough time. So just
Yeah,
hey, we've got
yeah.
enough
Come and
time.
join up. Exactly. Yeah. What about tool 3? Did anybody get a chance to look at that? Yeah. How did you find that, or any major draw?
Like, it was very usable, but maybe it whittled things down to too simplistic questions, and we were a little bit confused because the icons, the text icons, when we clicked them, they were prompts to tell us to ask this question so we
Of
could get a
ourselves.
solution.
Yes, yeah.
But some of the questions look like you were thinking that you needed an answer.
Yeah.
The decision you might not want an answer to that question.
Yeah.
You might need more links even, just to sort of like on the
My university link, the very first icon came up with a disability support.
Yeah.
If I've got in there and I don't have disability,
Yeah,
that means I
yeah.
have no access to university resources.
Yeah. I mean, I probably should have made that clear. I think the links are really not finalised yet, and they're really designed for individuals to customise them to their own organisations and what they might want to put in for themselves. So that's really coming back to customisation.
We
But
thought that maybe that even if you changed that would say the university was put in a picture like that, but within the university there are these agencies.
Yes, yeah.
Disability of the asset, of the
Yeah.
finance officer,
So some-
student
some-
services officer, what other-
Yeah,
and that would
what's
be
available.
personalisation. All universities and institutes would have
Yes,
some
yeah,
format like that.
yeah. Valid point. That's a good point. Tool 4. Did anybody get to look at that? Yeah. And general feeling about the tool
Yeah, well, it's actually number
was 5, was it?
4.
Yeah.
And it's like actually it's template.
Yeah.
That actually can be
Yes.
customized.
Yeah.
So it's hard, to actually get
Yes.
the
Yeah.
feel.
Yes.
Or the-
Yeah.
How customizable is it? You know what I mean? Like, is it actually possible to add in areas of information and guidance?
Yeah, I think it is. It is possible to do that, and we have. I'll give you the GitHub website address so that you can download. You can look at that and look at how you would customize the tools. So, I'll give that at the end. I'll just leave it up there on the. It's actually there's a little booklet there about the tools as well. So that information is in the booklet if you want to take that on the way out. Yeah.
Yeah, just looking at number 4 as well, like we seem to be in the student view, looking at it.
Yeah.
And there was nothing in it, there's no content there for 4, because you'd have to build it with your own content.
Yeah.
So if it had an author's view and it was easy to do, and that you didn't actually have to know much about creating web pages. And
Yes,
and
yeah,
stuff. But
yeah.
a lot of the time, the people who want to build these sites and put this information up are not technical people.
Yes.
So if
Exactly.
it's an author view as well, where someone can just go in and
Yeah,
simply put
yeah.
content up into boxes and it would automatically convert
Yeah.
it into lovely hand files. I
Yeah.
think that would really take off.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
know if it has. If I had to start putting web pages together and then linking web pages to it, then I need a certain level of expertise in order to be able to do that. And like maybe I do, maybe I don't.
Yeah. Yeah. That's very valuable. Yeah.
Sometimes having an author.
Yeah. An author view as well as a student view. Yeah.
Tool can be very
Yeah.
valuable
Yeah.
because
So I think I'm kind of out of time, am I, at this
I'm
stage?
giving you another minute.
Are you okay? Go on, thank you.
We're going to
So-
questions and answers anyway. So
Yeah.
we've kind of gone there.
So tool 5, did somebody look at that? Yeah?
I liked the story that you can choose your level of expertise.
Okay. That was valuable.
That I think is a good life.
Yeah. And disadvantages, anything that could be improved?
I think everything that you last time to say.
Yeah. So it was perfect, really. That's fine. What about tool 6 wasn't there? Tool 7. Did you look at that, Dave? What did you think?
I suppose one thing I suppose we felt was that the students were identifiable line from a minute or something like that made it a bit more believable.
Yeah.
There's other ones that they're a bit more generic. student.
So it's an advantage if it's like more believable in your view. Yeah, it's more credible.
As it reads on the smartphone anyway, it reads like just a load of text.
Does it? Yeah,
Pretty
yeah,
much,
yeah.
And I suppose we were saying, I don't know, if
haven't looked at that one.
video content of a student given it would be good.
Okay,
I
yeah.
think it was better on the laptop.
Yeah, I haven't looked at that one on the smartphone. Yeah, that's interesting. And did anybody look at the online orientation? This is the one for institutions. Did anybody look at that? No? No, not to worry, we didn't get to that. So look, as I said, this is the GitHub website address that you can go to find out about how you can customize those tools for your own institutions. And Liam is here from Fluid Rock. Put up your hand, Liam, Láva Suas, in case anybody has any questions about the customization of the tools. Okay, so thanks very much for your attention.